Hello again. Most of us, I think, heaved a sigh of relief when the restrictions relating to COVID went out of the window and assumed that they had been a strictly one-off thing in relation to an extraordinary, once-in-a-lifetime menace. Yet now, just a few months later, another hitherto unknown virus has seemingly leapt from animals to humans in a remote part of the world and is now threatening us here in Britain. I get that strange feeling of deja vu. I cannot have been the only person scratching my head in bewilderment to see the United Kingdom Health Security Agency advising that people who have had direct unprotected contact with the case will be advised to isolate for 21 days, including from the workplace. I am not, as viewers know, a fan of conspiracy theories, but there is something decidedly odd going on here. Another virus appears in Britain 2 years after COVID crops up, and this too is something we have never heard of and yet is suddenly an epidemic. Another 40 cases were reported yesterday, by the way, so it's clearly spreading rapidly. This is odd too, because when the first case was reported, we were assured that you actually had to be in West Africa to catch the thing, and it wasn't something which people could transmit easily here. The sinister sounding United Kingdom Health Security Agency, which is something one might hear of in a science fiction disaster movie, has said that people should self-isolate for 3 weeks if they catch monkeypox. See how easily the idea of self-isolating returns? Sounds like an old friend, doesn't it? And of course, just as with COVID, there's a vaccination we can have to protect us against this new epidemic. I'm afraid that I smell a rat with this business, and it seems to be stretching coincidence a little far to assume that this is just another of those things which simply happen. I don't know whether this is a product of some natural process or if it's a man-made thing, but it seems to me that we are now beset by strange viruses which are menacing the country and require adults to have vaccinations. I suppose it might be that in Britain we've grown used to a state of affairs where we don't need to worry all that much about infectious diseases because nobody catches things like smallpox, polio or diphtheria anymore, and perhaps we've assumed that's the natural order of things. At one time, of course, cholera epidemics and so on were common enough in this country. We might just have got out of the habit of dealing with infectious diseases in this way. Even so, I'm still slightly suspicious, although I'm not entirely sure what it is that I suspect. Is it that the wide-ranging powers which the government rushed in a couple of years ago, things like banning meetings and so on, were accepted a little too easily, and that I have the fear that they will become a regular feature of life? What will we do if monkeypox requires compulsory powers and lockdowns? Are we going to see strange viruses cause epidemics in Britain every year? Is monkeypox, like COVID, no more than a freakishly rare event? I'm sure that some viewers must, like me, be feeling a little uneasy at how quickly the concept of self-isolating has returned, and perhaps they're wondering, like me, what is actually going on and what the next stage might be.